We are going to be using a microphone today because this is going to be on a Google Hangout for those that can't join us today. What I want to do is start out introducing two of our partners with Spectrum Management. We've got Ryan here, and Ryan's going to start the presentation, followed by Heather. She will be right back. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Ryan. And what we're going to do is if you ask a question, Ryan's going to repeat your question so that it comes through the Google Hangout so that everybody can hear what the answer is, okay? So thank you, and here's Ryan.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, it's a pleasure to be with all of you. For most of you, I'm a new face, and so it's fun to be a part of the team that gets to work with STG. So just so you guys know, you guys are considered our most favorite ideal client. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here in front of all of you. It really is the truth. And so hopefully you guys know that. I think you do. You live and breathe the culture here with STG. And so it's fun to be a part of it. And so although I've been able to see it from a distance, until more recently, I've had the opportunity to be more closely aligned with you guys. And so excited to be here. So as Rachel mentioned, I'll spend just a few minutes just doing a basic introduction. And then we'll turn the time over to Heather to finish up and review the benefits from our perspective. But just want to, just a quick little overview. This year, just like we do each and every year, we spend a lot of time, working with the team here to make sure that we have the highest level of benefits for the most cost-effective, to you guys as employees. And so we had, a pretty interesting year. But at the end of the day, the amazing thing was there's a lot of great things that came out of it, and we were able to really maintain most of what we've had this past year. And so just know that a lot of time and effort went into it, and it's reflective of you and the hard work that you put in. And so there's gonna be a lot of things we go over today. But what's exciting about this type of a meeting is we get to come out and say, rather than the last 10 that I've had, and say, hey, great news, your rates went up 20%. We stripped your benefits out, and hopefully you love us. That's really tough. But with you guys, it's a totally different story. And so what you'll find as we go through the presentation today, as you look at the different benefits, that really you're in an amazing spot. And so really a lot of hard work has gone into this. Yeah. But just know that you guys play a big part in it. And so just keep that in mind. But I'm gonna the slides here. So just a quick little overview. As you can see up here, is we're going to renew with Select Health. There's no increase there, which is amazing. As I mentioned before, we're going to stick with Health Equity for the health savings account. And then the FSA is really the big change here is we're going to move to a new company called Discovery Benefits. So Heather will touch on a lot here on that a little bit in a moment. And then we are going to move to a new company called Wellvia that handles the telemedicine program. So we're excited with that change. And it was, a great move. We internally use the same program, so we've really been excited and enjoyed it this past year that we've had access to it. And then as you can see up there on the slide, we're going to remain with Dental Select as well as Principal and some of your other lines. So just from a quick little high-level overview, and I know a lot of you already saw that in the flyer that did go out. So yeah, if you'll hit those slides. So just as a quick little recap, I think everybody knows this and you've already read this, but January 1st will be the renewal date, but we are going to have, and it's actually open now, but you'll have the system which we call Benefit Compass open for you to go in and confirm your benefits. We are going to leave it open until the 27th of November, so you've got plenty of time to go in, but would encourage you to go in now and make sure that you can not only get in, but if you've forgotten your password to get that reset. But if you do happen to not go in, you'll notice that we're going to have what we call a passive enrollment. Meaning if you don't go in, we'll just roll you over to the most equivalent benefits. However, there are certain things like, say, the FSA that you do need to re-elect. So if that's something that's important to you and a couple other things, you'll need to make sure and do that, and Heather will highlight that. Also, just remember that this is your opportunity to make any changes. And then as you can see here at the bottom of the slide, we've got various things highlighted, mostly for those that are new employees. But then just remember the minimum hours required to work per week, and then the eligibility for spouse, domestic partner, etc. And if you have any questions on that, let us know. And then the last thing that I'll touch on before I turn the time over to Heather is now is open enrollment. But if you guys do have any changes during the year, there are certain life events that allow you to make updates to your benefits. And so this is something you've probably heard for years and years, But just remember, if you have one of these events, there's a number of them listed here. They're also in your guide. But if you get married, there's a divorce, a loss of coverage, a newborn, etc., you do have the ability to make changes to your plan. However, you do need to do it within a certain time frame. Who can tell us what that time frame is? 30 days. Perfect. So 30 days. As long as you submit it within those 30 days, prize for you at the end. So we'll be able to take care of it. All of that will be done through Benefit Compass. But remember, if you forget to do that or fail to do that, we'll do our very best to help get maybe an exception made. But ultimately, you would likely have to wait until the following open enrollment. So if you happen to have any of those events, please let us know. Let us get involved, and we'll be more than happy to help out with that. So any questions anybody has? I know a lot of that's just a review, but anything before we move on?
Has anybody not received a book yet? Oh, we've got one. Anybody else need a book?
Okay, excellent. Well, with that, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to Heather. But once again, great to be here and excited to be working with you guys.
Thanks, Ryan. So a no increase. Hello, is that amazing? Yes. That's the second year in a row. I really think that's a first for us with any client. So we're thrilled about that. So I see a lot of familiar faces. Good to be with you guys. Happy open enrollment, right? It's that time of year. So most of this we're going to breeze through. Obviously, if you have a question that pertains to the group, speak up. We can pause and make sure we address all your questions. But Ryan and I will stick around, and we're happy to talk to you one-on-one. We also are pleased to have Miss Tracy here from Select Health. So thrilled to have her and Select Health as our partner again for another year. And now is your time. I think I know a lot about Select Health and Ryan, but she has all the answers. So now you can actually bug her in person, face to face. So we're happy to have her here. Want to point out too, she came bearing gifts. So everybody has one of these on your chair. If you didn't get one, we've got a whole box full. So let us know if you had to pull up a chair, but a very cool dry fit towel for everybody as well. So I'm going to more quiz you guys, right? How many years have we had this medical plan? Several years now, right? So nothing's changing. We're staying with Select Health. We're still offering the 3,000, 6,000 HSA plan option. What's the name of our network? Med Plus. Great. So we have the IHC, obviously the Med Plus hospitals, the Instacares, and then obviously hundreds and thousands of different pediatricians, primary care specialists, right? Doctors that we can see. Okay, so let's review a few key things, but again, absolutely no changes. So you can see our kind of first category, right, is our major medical. So we've got, obviously our deductible is $3,000 per person, okay, if you're enrolled as one. So if you're enrolling just yourself, $3,000 is your deductible, right? But the second you enroll 2 or more people, you fall into that family category of $6,000, okay? Now, what's the second element after deductible? After we hit our deductible, what happens? The cost sharing, right? So what's the cost sharing on our plan? 20% for major, right? Which is outpatient and inpatient and maternity. The nice thing about our plan is we do have some co-pays after deductible for the basic stuff, right? Our primary care office visit is $15 after deductible. What's the $25 copay for? Specialty care, right? Urgent care and kids care, $35. And then you can see their emergency room is $75 after deductible. Okay, so really nice, really clean, easy to understand. Now, if you have prescriptions that you need to fill after deductible, you can see we have copays for that as well. Okay, so who can tell me? I'm going to put somebody on the spot. I like to pick on Chick if nobody wants to volunteer, but you know, used to being wrong. Perfect, perfect. So obviously we have predictable expenses, right? We have copays set in place for after deductible. But what happens before you reach the deductible for, like, if you're going to your doctor, your primary care because you think you're sick? How does that billing work and what should you do? Kind of an open-ended question, so a lot of probably good answers. Chick, yes. Perfect. And do you pay at the time of service or do you wait? Perfect. So just to repeat that, oh yes, round of applause for Chick. Good job. So two key things that I want to point out. With your HSA plan, remember those copays are after deductible. So when you go, whether it's primary care, pediatrician, specialist, even the emergency room, right? Give them your insurance card and the keyword, wait, okay? You wait to receive the bill from your provider. You wait to receive the EOB from Select Health. What does EOB stand for? Thank you. Explanation of benefits. And you match them up, right? Make sure your doctor billed you correctly. There's no copays up front on our plan. So that's why you wait to see what they are, and then Chick gave the magic answer, right? What do? You pay for it out of your HSA. Okay. Now the amount of that service, so maybe it was $80 for that primary care. Maybe it's $150 if it was an urgent care visit. You're getting discounts. So even though you're paying the full amount prior to deductible, they're discounted. There's fees, obviously, that are pre-negotiated because assuming you're in network and they're contracted with Select Health, you get a benefit from those discounts, okay? And that would be the amount applied to your deductible, and that's the amount you pay out of your HSA, okay? Questions on the plan? If you swing out of network, what happens? Exactly. You don't have as much protection, right? You're going to pay more. It's nice we do have an out-of-network option, but again, there's more exposure. So I'm not going to go over every single item, but you can see there, like she said, a lot higher deductible, out-of-pocket max, double on the coinsurance, right? Instead of 20% after deductible, it's 40% after deductible, okay? So I'm comfortable in saying I think most of you are really, really familiar with the plan. Yes. So once you hit that, you're covered 100%. Is that what you're asking? Yes, perfect. So for your family that year. And we run, obviously, our plan year is also our accumulation period. Okay, so from January 1 to December 31st. So everybody gets to start over, right? January 1. So if you have anything else left to get, right? Tracy's not hearing me talk, but make sure that you're planning appropriately, right? If you've hit your deductible or your out-of-pocket max. I actually do want to touch on one thing. What's preventive care? What is that? What type of doctor visits? Mammograms, physicals, well child. And if once you get to be an old man like Chick, you can get a colonoscopy, right? When you actually are sedated, so you will be fine, right? We also have things like bone densities, mammograms, right? So be mindful of that. You don't pay anything at the time of service as long as you're a network, okay? So essentially, right, everybody likes free. It's free. It's built into the plan and you don't pay anything. So make sure you're taking advantage of that, okay? So our deductible first, coinsurance second, out-of-pocket max third, and then obviously we have copays. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes, because it's a cumulative effort, right? So to make sure you guys all heard Kelly's question, can one person hit the family deductible? Yes. So if I have maybe a $10,000 claim, obviously the family cumulative deductible, so all of us contributing to it together is $6,000. I would meet that $6,000 off top for my whole family. So if my husband comes along, one of my kids come along, and they have a deductible expense, right? They would go straight into coinsurance or copays depending upon what it was. The after deductible calculation. Yeah. Correct. That's correct. So the question, deductibles is cumulative, but out-of-pocket maximums are per person. That's correct. That's why it's the slash versus the or. So great point. Okay, the out-of-pocket max is embedded. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's talk about the awesome resources we have with Select Health. We've talked a lot about this throughout the year, right? At the Lunch and Learns that we have. So again, let's teach each other. Hopefully you guys have used some of these. Who can tell me, and don't just read from this, but what's member advocates? Why is that important and how can that help? Anyone? Yeah.
We have questions. They're going to be our person in the accounting.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys have an amazing team here, right? Benefits, HR is awesome. Spectra, we view ourselves as an extension of them. But there are some things, yes, does take a bow, right? There are some things, right, that Select Health can handle better. If you need to get into a specialist and you call and they say it's a 3-month wait, I'm not going to have pull with that provider, but I would be able to call member advocates on your behalf, or you could call them directly. So we'll always help you navigate and get you in touch with the right person, but you can call directly too. They can help you get appointments for urgent conditions. They can help you understand perhaps a pre-auth, an appeals process, okay? So just kind of that minutia, right? Those deeper layers that sometimes we get into with healthcare and our medical plan, they're here to help. Now, obviously, please feel free to contact me directly as well. Like I said, we're here to help and even navigate that and direct you and kind of help collaborate those efforts too, okay? Quit for Life, an amazing cessation program. If you're trying to quit smoking, they have a very hands-on program to assist you with. Let's remind everybody about the out-of-area service, okay? So if you live here in Utah and you're traveling out of state, you do have a national network that's available to you, and it is called Multi-Plan and PHCS. Very simply, all you need to do is turn over your ID card, and it's right there. There's an 800 number that you can call, or you can take your mobile app and put in the zip code. Maybe you're on vacation in Florida and one of your kids gets sick, okay? You actually have some information on the mobile app, or calling them and they can say, hey, here's the nearest urgent care, here's the nearest primary care, okay? But they do have a national network, even though Select Health is based out of here, that they lease and use and make available to all members, okay? Healthy Beginnings, what is that? Anybody had babies lately? A spouse that had a baby, okay? So if you've ever been pregnant or your spouse has been pregnant, they automatically send you information to help you have a healthy pregnancy. You also can be proactive and ask for the assistance through, sometimes maybe it's a high-risk pregnancy, right? Or things that happen. This is a very hands-on thing that if you comply with it, you can earn some free money. Who doesn't like gift cards, right? So keep that in mind, that that's available as well. And then obviously we have some fantastic pharmacy tools. How many of you have the mobile app downloaded on your phone? Perfect. Okay, what can you do with pharmacy on your mobile app? Perfect, right. You can check the status of prescriptions, right? Is it generic? Is it tier 1, 2, 3? Maybe there's an alternative on the market. You can also compare pricing, right? So you can shop around right there at the fingertips of your phone, okay? So don't forget that that's available as well. A couple other things with Select Health. What's Intermountain Health Hub? We talked about this probably about 6 months ago on our Lunch and Learn. Anybody remember what is this? It's different than the My Health app. What is different about Intermountain Health Hub? You can read really quickly. Anyone? Tracy? No, I just, sure, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So check in and advanced use the tools that are available for you. Also on Intermountain Health Hub, you can read those descriptions. They actually have a pretty cool app that is good for both summer and winter. It maps out all sorts of trails, hikes, activities within Utah, right there in the palm of your hand. That feature.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, for the people
so
on the
loud.
WebEx.
Hello, WebEx people. The thing that's excellent about that is it helps you stay active. It's right there in the palm of your hands, no matter where you're at throughout Utah. You've got access to trails, information. That's something that on Select Health's app we don't have. But both of them are very robust combined together. There's nothing that you shouldn't have access to between those two apps, between Intermountain and Select Health. We are the health plan side of Intermountain Healthcare, hence why there's two different apps. Many people go straight to the Intermountain side if they're just paying Intermountain bills. But that's the distinction between the two.
Perfect, thank you. The best way I like to remember is Select Health is using the IHC network, right? So if you want to plug into the IHC network side of information, like she said, wait times, providers, IHC Health Hub will have more information in regards to that. But obviously you can search providers and link to that through the mobile app as well. What I love about the mobile app is you can pull up an electronic copy of your ID card. How many of you have had to email me and go, I lost my card, I need a new one? No one? Oh, good. We don't have any of those people here today yet. So again, that's why I'm here. I'm your gal, right? You can absolutely email me. But the most amazing thing about it is I email those people back and go, awesome, here's a copy of your ID card. But guess what? Download the mobile app and you have it right at your fingertips, right? Especially if your dependent is at the doctor's office and they forget it. Tell them to download the mobile app, right? So it's available there, ready to go. Okay, so we talked about Med Plus, right? That's our network. Here's just a nice reminder of the footprint of the network throughout the entire state. Huge network, right? We have great access to care. So all up and down the Wasatch Front, obviously very localized there, and then across the whole state. This is really zeroing in on the Instacares and Kids Cares. Now, obviously, you guys love Teladoc. We love Teladoc, even though we're moving to Wellvia. We're going to talk about how that's essentially the same program, just with a different provider. But if you do have an urgent need that can't be met by Wellvia, our new telehealth program, it's great to know where these are located, right? So that you can mitigate going to the ER for urgent situations, right? Okay, questions on the medical? Awesome. All right. Yes. Sure. So there will be personal accumulators. However, it still is a collective effort. Okay. So you'll see how much of that $6,000 family deductible is met by each person, but it still is a combined effort. That's the best way to. And if there's more questions, feel free to reach out personally. Okay. All right. The HSA. You guys obviously know how this works, right? So this is all just a reminder of some of the tools and tips. So you get this bank account when you enroll in the medical plan. You have to have the medical plan to get the bank account. Okay. So if you choose to be covered perhaps at your spouse's job, you would not be able to get the bank account. Okay. So the eligibility rules, you have to have the plan and you cannot be enrolled on any disqualified insurance. So if any of you are receiving Medicare, okay, military, so TRICARE, DOD, VA benefits, come talk to me afterwards so we can dive in and see what the best course of action is, okay? Also, you have to be an adult, which I think all of you are. You wouldn't be working here, right? So 18 years of age or older, okay? Except for Ryan, he looks 12, but he's allowed to be here. Okay, perfect. Now, obviously, this is pre-tax. That's the best part, right? As it goes in, state, federal, and FICA exempt through a payroll deduction. Is there interest that you earn on this account? It's minimal, but there is, right? It's always tax-free as it goes in, as it grows, and as you spend it. This is why I love this, right? Scott does an amazing job taking care of you guys on the 401k side. But his message is what? You pay taxes somewhere, right? On the way in or on the way out. An HSA is truly one of a kind. It's the only completely tax-free option available to consumers, period, right? So look at it as a nice retirement nest egg. What's the primary function? Today, tomorrow, the prescription, the emergency room visit, right? The doctor's office visit. But you can also spend it on Medicare premiums, long-term care, okay, home health care. You can pull it out at age 65, pay no penalty, but just pay taxes. So in that regards, it would function as a traditional 401k. So kind of view it long-term as a medical 401k, but today, here and now, right, is to do what? Help us pay and offset the exposure we have. And your employer is very generous. They're continuing with the same exact contributions for 2018. Okay, so you'll continue to get those every paycheck at these different amounts, and you cannot go over these 2018 limits. So we really need to mention something. We've had a few employees this year, unfortunately, over-contribute. How is that possible? Because they're doing direct contributions in addition to employer contributions and payroll deduction contributions, okay? We are not able to see your year-to-date balance. We can't see, this is a bank account, right? It's your social security number. So it's protected by banking privacy laws, okay? So if you over-contribute, you're going to end up forfeiting employer contributions that are left for the remainder of the year because Health Equity will reject those because they have safeguards in place to protect you so that you don't get penalized for over-contributing. So we've been able to fix this with these employees, but we want to make sure that you guys understand that this is all monies going in. Money you put in directly, money that's free to you, right? The gift from your employer, and any payroll deduction amount. So make sure that you are managing. You are the only one that knows full year-to-date contributions. The only thing STG can see that we can see is what's coming through the company. So the payroll deduction and the employer contribution. Make sense? Okay. What can you spend your HSA money on? What can you spend it on? What do you guys spend it on? Say it louder for me. Medical expenses, right? That's stating the obvious. Anything, whether it's an office visit, prescription, surgery, inpatient, outpatient, you name it. What else? Thank you. Dental. Vision. Anything else come to mind? Thank you. So I want to make this distinction. You guys do a really good job of understanding this, but just to remind you, Select Health manages our claims, right? They say what's covered, and they obviously tell us how much we owe, and that provider then abides by that contracted amount. Is Health Equity talking to Select Health? Yeah, they're sending a claims feed, right? So we have that visibility and transparency, but is Select Health talking to Health Equity? I'm sorry, Select Health is talking to Health Equity. I said that backwards. Hang on, let me back up. Select Health is talking to Health Equity in that they're sharing claims data, but Health Equity is not talking to Select Health. So what I mean is, if you have the need to buy contacts and you've already used your allowance on your vision plan, or maybe you waive vision and you just choose to pay for them out of the HSA. To his point, there's things that you can spend your dollars on that aren't going towards your medical deductible. The IRS independently says, here's the items, okay, that you can spend out of your HSA. So dental, vision, chiropractic, acupuncture. What's the trick with over-the-counter meds? We talk about this a lot too. What are you supposed to do? But what's the notice that's available to you on Health Equity's website? Anybody remember? We talked about this at the HSA Lunch and Learn. Okay, so it's an OTC checklist, over-the-counter checklist. Download it off your Health Equity website and itemize every single OTC you would purchase. Ibuprofen, Tylenol, aspirin for you and everybody in your family, okay? Take that to your next annual exam or next office visit with your primary care doctor. The date that he signs it, it's good for 12 months from that date. Now you can continue to use your HSA card and pay for all those items on that list. Do that once per year, you're good, okay? That's how you get around the prescription every time you need one. Because let's be honest, who's gonna go to the doctor's office to get a script for ibuprofen? I'd be going like 20 times a year. It's not gonna work for me, right? But if I have that list, then I'm good and can continue to purchase them. Don't forget that. That's really key, and I think we spend a lot of money on OTCs. Yeah. There you go. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So again, let me just point out, be mindful that the individual, oh yes, thank you. Sometimes I forget I'm on the WebEx. Okay, so he mentioned, tell me your name again. Alan mentioned that his wife can purchase her contact solution directly from the vision provider and use the HSA card and not have to go to Walmart. So then it's through the provider and he's good to go one stop and use that card. Thank you. Okay, this is going up $50, $34.50. The family, what is it currently? Anybody know? $67.50, and it's going to not $69. Okay, $6,900. Again, that's all monies contributed. If you're 55 years of age or older, you get that additional $1,000. Okay? All right, we'll keep cruising. Wellvia works exactly as Teladoc. Who's had a good experience with Teladoc? Do you mind sharing? Can I pick on you?
My whole family, we got like strep or whatever, like sinus infections, things like that. And my husband hates going to the doctor and he's super proud. I don't know what it is, but he loved that he could just call the doctor, say these are the symptoms. They gave him a prescription. And if it didn't work, obviously we could go in, but my daughter's the same. And it's so much quicker and so much easier than trying to find time to take off work, to go to the doctor, to do all that. So it's been great.
Thank you so much. Yes, it can. Yeah, just like the FSA. So there's quantity limits, but yes. So first aid kits. Oh, I apologize. Jeez. It's only noon. My brain, I know. I'm sorry. Okay. So the question was, can you use it for first aid kits and things like that? So yes. Think of if you were ever on an FSA, what you can purchase your FSA dollars on works for HSA. I know if you guys want to be really nitty gritty, go to irs.gov and type in publication 502 in the search engine, and it will give you all that information. But first aid kits, yes. I believe the quantity limit is 5, but don't quote me on that. Okay. Yes.
I use my HSA for things like Advil and
Mm-hmm.
but I have do I get a statement
Great.
that's going to show everything that I use my
Great point. You know what? I actually didn't mention that, so let's make sure that we make that clear. I make probably too many assumptions, right? That you guys know everything. So keeping your records is absolutely important with the HSA. Now, I'm not suggesting that you print off and create this huge paper trail of all your Select Health EOBs, because those are stored for you electronically. So if you're making those purchases out of your HSA for medical expenses that are tracked by Select Health, you're good. But OTCs, for example, yes, you need to keep that receipt because it itemizes. That's okay. Just start doing it now. Cross your fingers you don't get audited, right? So the only time it comes to light is if you were audited. And you have to prove it's the IRS. So it's so to answer your question, distributions, right? Yes, card swipes. So it'll say Walgreens $10.50. The problem is the card swipe doesn't itemize what it is that costs $10.50. So that's why the receipt fills in the gaps. The IRS is going to say, what did you spend it on and prove it? The prove it side of things is the incurred date, right? Making sure it's within the time that you were covered. What it was it a qualified item? And then matching the amount to the distribution from the account. So great question. Thank you. So you guys, she mentioned what Wellvia did for her, saved her time, saved her money, met a medical need. That's the goal, right? The best part about it is STG pays for this program 100%. Those of you that are enrolled in the medical will automatically be enrolled in Wellvia. These are board certified doctors. They're legit, right? 24/7 for phone consultations, but only until 9 p.m. for video chat, okay? Download the mobile app once you receive your welcome kit and you'll be good to go. Yes.
One really great thing is they call like immediately. I mean, they call you back once you call them or you get it set up. They call you right back, and it's great.
I think Wellvia calls you even quicker. So that's really great. There is one caveat to Wellvia. Is the Android app up yet? Okay, so I think we'll be live by the time we launch, but if you have an Android phone and you don't see it in the App Store yet, you'll just need to go to the web browser within your internet, okay? Dental, nothing's changing. Awesome, right? So let's review what this plan does. It allows you to get your cleanings for free, right? For you and your family members twice per year. And then if you do have a cavity or even worse, major, like a crown or a root canal, you do have a $50 per person deductible. It's a max of 3 people, right, to get to that $150. Then you have your coinsurance, okay? So it's just like the medical. Deductible first, coinsurance second. Dental Select displays this differently on their summary, so we didn't want to confuse you, so we're matching it to how they display. They're telling you what they pay in their documents. So they pay 80%, you pay 20% on basic, which is pretty much cavities, and then major is 50-50. The annual max is $1,000 per person. That's how much they will pay out on you in a given year. So it's opposite of medical, right? What happens when you reach the out-of-pocket max on medical? Right. What happens on dental? They stop, okay? So just make sure you're mindful of that. Ortho, we have an enhanced benefit here. It's for adults and children. So if you want to get braces or put braces on a child, you can do that. It's a $1,000 benefit per person per lifetime with Dental Select. And it's obviously 50% off up to that $1,000. No waiting periods for any benefit. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. That's how much they pay. The $1,000 is how much they will pay out. So your amount could definitely be more than that. Right, correct. Okay, so let's talk about the Dental Select resources. Who attended the Dental Select Lunch and Learn? Jeez, check, you're the expert in the room. I didn't see many. Perfect. So let's review a couple key things. We have an app, Download it. You can get your ID card, see your claims, search providers, right? What is a predetermination of benefits? I pick on Chick a lot. I'll ask somebody else. Carlos, you're smiling at me. Do you know? Perfect. He said it's when you get a quote, right, or you ask your dentist to coordinate with Dental Select, how much is it going to cost me? That just helps you have transparency, right? You don't have to do it, but it's a nice thing to do so you can plan for it. The max rewards. We are approaching year 2. January 1, all of you will have an 1,100 max. I should have actually added that here. I apologize. So it's going up to 1,100. So we automatically, as long as we're with Dental Select, you can see how it goes up every year. So that's really great. We're going to have our year 2 benefit at 1,100. If we renew with Dental Select for a 3rd year, it's going to go to 1,300. And that's just gifted. That's automatic increase per year. Okay? Vision. This is for those of you that need hardware. Your eye exam, you can see there is a $10 copay. And then you have a choice. Do you want to get frames or contact lenses? So your eye exam, and then you stretch your allowance however you see fit, one or the other in the given year. If you use the $150 allowance towards your frames for your glasses, you can still purchase contact lenses, but it's not going to be with full allowance. You would just have discounts. Yes. And that's even better. But most of the time, Select Health, they will cover one eye exam per year. But if you're doing anything special with your eye exam, just pay the $10 if it's not the standard eye exam, so you don't run into some additional billing with your medical plan. Okay? And again, pay attention to frequencies, like I mentioned, once per year. If you want LASIK, depending upon the vendor, you can get up to $500 off in savings. So it's good to shop around with that. All right, life insurance. STG is continuing to provide you that basic life insurance. So they pay for that part of the life insurance program, a very generous thing that they would gift to your beneficiary. Heaven forbid something happened to you. Okay, so it's going to pay 100% of your annual salary with a minimum of $35,000 and a maximum of $200,000. Again, you're automatically enrolled by being a full-time eligible employee. If, heaven forbid, you pass away due to an accidental death or dismemberment, it actually doubles. Okay, so it matches that life election. And for spouse, if you were to lose a spouse, you would receive $5,000. If you were to lose a child, it's either $1,000 up to 6 months age, or after 6 months, it's $2,500. Okay, voluntary life. This is if you want additional life insurance. We have great participation in this plan. So kudos to you guys. You understand the value of term insurance, right? A lot of us, sometimes our work insurance through the life is the only thing we have because it's super affordable. So if you're a new hire in the room, you can get that guarantee issue. But again, it's only for new hires. At Open Enrollment, by all means, you can elect and request more, but you are subject to that maximum of $300,000, and you have to go through an underwriting process, meaning you can get approved or denied. Okay, Benefit Compass will walk you through that. It will tell you how much it's going to cost. It will also tell you if you need to fill out that form and if you're subject to that approval process. You can also get up to 50% of what you purchase on your spouse, not to exceed $150,000. And for kids, it's $10,000. Please check your beneficiaries. Now is the time to make sure. Did you get married this last year? Did you get divorced this last year? Did something change and you need to change your beneficiary? Okay, it's legally binding and we store it electronically on Benefit Compass, and it will prompt you to add that. So make sure that it's correct. Okay, I've had to pay out a life claim to an ex-girlfriend, and the kids didn't get anything, and they had lost their mom a few years prior. It was not fun. So don't be in that situation. Okay, disability. We're cruising along, right? Lots of fun. We're almost there. Okay, so the short-term disability, these are voluntary. If you want to purchase these, you can, right? This is income protection. That's why we buy disability. If we're out of work to an accident or illness, do the bills stop? No, they don't, right? This gives you, obviously, an avenue to still have some money coming in if you're out of work. Okay, the elimination period means you have to be out of work for 7 days. On the 8th day, this benefit kicks in. It's going to pay you that 60% of your weekly earnings up to that $1,800 max per week. It will continue to pay you for 11 weeks, okay? It's a 12-week duration period, but that includes that 7 days, that first week of elimination. Make sense? If you're still on disability due to that accident or illness after 90 days, so the 12 weeks expires if you're enrolled in LTD as well, going to roll you over into the LTD plan. Now, you obviously would have to submit a claim, okay? But this is going to pay you on a monthly basis. You can see there's 60% of your monthly earnings up to $5,000 per month, okay? Questions on the disability or the life? We good? Does the book say 8? Okay, we'll double check on that. We will let you know if the book or the PowerPoint is wrong. I apologize. Okay, the FSA plan for 2018. So this is the change, okay? So if you're currently with Health Equity, don't panic. We have a run-out period that will still be administered with Health Equity. You're not going to lose that money, okay? So you will have that 90 days to continue to incur and submit for reimbursement to Health Equity, okay? So you have up through March 31st. Then January 1, your new account for 18 will load and fund, and you'll get a welcome kit in the mail with your new debit card from Discovery Benefits. So those of you that are participating in the current plan, you'll use Health Equity till it's gone and then start with Discovery, okay? The reason for the change, we heard you, we listened, we made a change, right? Those of you that have been on the program, it's been a little touch and go, right? Health Equity is amazing on the HSA side. The FSA, let's call it what it is just not as robust of a platform. It's kind of a plug-in by the way benefit, and they just haven't got there yet. So Discovery is a great partner that we also use, and so we're happy to make that change. They have extended customer service hours, very savvy portal. They pay claims right. We're real excited, okay? So I think you will be too. And you will see there that you have up to $2,650 this year. So the IRS increased that amount, so we're gonna take advantage, okay? What do you spend your FSA dollars on if you're enrolled in the medical plan with the HSA? Does that make sense? What can you spend your FSA on if you're enrolled in the medical HSA plan? Thank you, Craig. Dental and vision. It's a limited purpose FSA. If you're not on the medical, or maybe you're on your spouse's medical, you can then enroll in the full FSA and use it for medical, dental, and vision. So the IRS says the HSA disqualifies you for using an FSA for medical because they don't cross monitor those accounts. So they don't know if you would reimburse yourself for something out of the HSA and the FSA. Make sense? If you have daycare needs, you can put aside up to $5,000. Okay? So just know that that $2,650 is front loaded. You pay it back throughout the year in a pre-taxed equal amount deduction. Okay? The daycare, however, is available as it's deducted from your paycheck. So make sure you understand that difference. Carlos, do you have a question? If it's limited. So great question. It is managed per household. Okay, so he asked if my spouse has an HSA, can I have a full FSA? And the answer is no, unless it's limited. Because it's if you're, let me give you one catch on that. If you're filing their taxes jointly. Okay, if they're independent, then yes. Together, no. Okay, all right. Where do you guys go to enroll or make changes for OE? Benefit Compass, right? SpectraBenefits.com, right? That's who we are, me and Ryan. Okay, so go to SpectraBenefits.com. We have private labeled Employee Navigator. If you go to find the mobile app, or if you look online and you get kicked out and then it tries to like log you back in and you're like, this doesn't look like Benefit Compass. Why is it saying Employee Navigator? Just know that we've private labeled it as Benefit Compass, but the software itself is Employee Navigator. Okay, so go to our website, log in. If you forgot your username or password, I know it's kind of hard to see, but there is a forgot password link right before the login page. Okay, if you're new, you need to register, and don't forget the identifier. It's also in the book so that you can refer to that. Simply walk through the tutorial. It's going to say start the benefits, make sure we have your information correctly, your dependents loaded correctly. If you're adding a new dependent, you need the social security number, okay? And then tell us what you want. It will break down the price. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but it will say the dependents right there. If you change that, just deselect or select the dependents, it's going to real-time calculate the different tier, whether you want employee only, two-party, family. Okay, so then you can see what the price is, select the plan, save and continue. Be mindful as you're going through. One thing here, this is only showing 3, this is a sample, but you will get check marks. It's a blue circle with a white check mark. If you cannot execute this final page for your agree and complete section, you've missed something. So go look and see where there is no check mark. Go back and finish that and you'll be good to go. Okay? So when do you have until, what's the date that open enrollment is closing? November 27th at midnight, Mountain Time. Okay? Now you can go back into this site as many times as you want. Up until that day, we will not be extracting the files. So even if you hit agree 5 times, don't worry, we will not close out the site till the 28th. Okay? Questions for me? I know it's a lot of information, but we look forward to coming to the Lunch and Learns. If you haven't attended, can I just put in a plug for they're awesome. We spend a lot of time going over a lot more details and getting into the weeds, and I think you'll find even more value in the resources available for the carriers. Cool. Okay. Here's my portion.
Did anyone have any questions for Heather before we turn the time over to Scott? Yes.
If you want a list of services that are deemed preventive, meaning no copay, no coinsurance, no deductible, no nothing, these are the services that the Affordable Care Act defines as preventive. So again, the services that are in the orange box are adult services. The services that are in the blue or purple, depending on how your eyes see it, are pediatric or child-related services. And in the green box are obstetrical services for women. Okay, so come and grab one of these. It's just nice to review to see if you've had some of these annual screenings. So much more cost effective to receive care in advance of these conditions becoming something much more large.
Well, and I think to add to Tracy's comment, sometimes when you go into a healthcare provider, let them know that your visit is a preventative or well visit. Oftentimes, that's where the coding errors could take place. So just make sure that you're educating them as well what your visit is pertaining to. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the time over to Scott Cheney. He's our financial advisor, and he's going to talk about our 401k for just a moment.
Thank you, Rachel. Great job, Heather. I don't have nearly as much ground to cover. So I want to start off with a pop quiz of sorts. I've always admired people who can rattle off stock market statistics off the top of their head, which I'm not one of those people. But there happen to be 2 numbers that are really easy to remember and I think maybe very motivating. Who can guess how much the U.S. stock market, basically the S&P 500 index, went down from the peak right before the financial crisis to the bottom? So that's not the worst year, 2008, but how much it went down. Any guesses? Nope, it was more. It was 50%. That's how much went down. Now, that's easy number to remember, right? How much do you think the stock market has grown since it was fully recovered? Meaning it went down 50%, then it went back up 50%. So that's the previous peak, right? So since then, since the recovery was complete, how much has it grown as of the end of September? Any ideas? It's a very easy number to remember. Let's talk in terms of percentage because it's easier to. 100% is how much it's grown since the previous peak. So from the trough, it's 150%, right? It's a big time growth. This year, depending on the indexes have been up between around 20 to as much as 40% so far this year. So I hope that you all were able to participate in some of that growth. And then on the subject of growth, if I told you that you could have a guaranteed 50% rate of return overnight with no risk, would you be in? Yeah, I think I'd sign up for that. And you all have that. You probably all know that. That is what is known as your employer match. So if you do up to 6% of your compensation, STG will give you free money of 3%, which is half, right? So it's a guaranteed 50% rate of return. So I hope all of you take advantage of at least that. All right, as you know, we moved our plan from American Funds to Vanguard in October, and just want to highlight a few of those changes. One of the changes is you can make your salary deferral elections online. You don't have to go through or interact with the finance department, which I know breaks your heart and theirs, but it's fast and easy to do that online. And you also can and should review your beneficiaries online. Maybe while we're in open enrollment and you're in that mode of thinking, just see who your beneficiaries are. And briefly, it should almost always be your spouse should be your primary beneficiary, unless you have a good reason not to name your spouse. Or if you're not married, obviously it's not going to be your spouse. So that should be your go-to, unless you have a reason and you and your estate planning attorney have talked about that. Review your beneficiaries when you're in there. All right, so the new Vanguard Life Strategy Target Risk Funds replace the model portfolios that we had at American Funds. They're essentially the same tool that you can now use. It's actually a fund instead of a model that has names such as aggressive, balanced, conservative. So if you want a portfolio that's automatically globally diversified like that, you can choose one of the Life Strategy Target Risk Funds. We have added several new asset classes and strategies to choose from that were not previously there. The total number of funds is about the same as it was, but you have more choice because there's basically no redundant funds that we had previously. It's an all Vanguard index fund lineup, and the expense ratios are as low as 0.04%, which is just crazy. I mean, 10 years ago, that was unheard of. It's just everything keeps going down, down, down. So our participation rate prior to converting to Vanguard was about 76%. As of this morning, it was almost 81%. So the participation rate grew quite a bit, and that makes us happy because we know that people are taking advantage of the benefit to the extent of 80% of them. We have a new, we're calling them 401k mini series, which are basically one-page concept pieces that will be posted to the intranet site, and there will be a little video, or rather a voiceover. I'm going to voiceover basically narrate the slide to explain it, so you can listen to that video in your free time. And we're going to roll them out one at a time, maybe once a month, something like that. And we'll try to choose topics that are timely, helpful. We're going to demonstrate one today, in fact. Reminding everyone that we have I provide the option to have a 10-minute phone call that can also be a video conference if you prefer, that you can sign up with a link that has been emailed to you, and we can send it again if you can't find it. And the purpose of that phone call is simply to determine if there's some way I can help you somehow with anything that's on your mind related to the 401k or financial plan in general. A reminder, I can't give personalized financial advice, but I can answer basic questions that may help you make good decisions, and tell you the types of things that I think you should be thinking about or working through. We have also one-on-one consultations that I offer in the fall and the spring. We just wrapped up that period a month or so ago, so we'll do it again in the spring. I'd love to actually sit down and talk to you face to face if that's your preference over a phone call. I think we hit just about everything. I want to demonstrate that. Or do you have any questions? No? Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we launched the new employee intranet site. Thank you. So what we did this morning is we launched the new employee intranet site. So this is where you'll find a lot of your resources. I encourage you to go take a look. But under training, under benefit training, you will see our 401k mini series. This is where you would find the latest and greatest posting. And so if I click here, it will actually show the video, and we'll just take a look at it real quick. It's only for 1 minute, 48 seconds. There is music, but for some reason it's not. You can't hear it. So you can't even hear Scott. So that's that demonstration. I can talk through it, but anyway, this is actually Scott's actually talking in the real video on the intranet, but he'll actually walk you through this slide. And again, it's like a minute and a half, but we'll post these excerpts monthly. So, and it'll be housed here in the intranet site. So if you haven't had a chance to explore, please do. There is a page here I want to show you that there's a contact us, and you would click on that if there's something that you couldn't find or something that would be useful to have. by contacting us, it automatically opens a benefit request ticket to us, and we can address that and constantly enhance the intranet site for you. So we're pretty excited. Please let us know what you think. And Scott, do you have any more comments? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? This was recorded, so you could go back and view it later, but we do have an open enrollment meeting tomorrow night from 6 to 7, so you can come back or bring a spouse or guest. And then we do have 2 open enrollment meetings next week at the Rob. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everybody.